March 13th. Brother Andrew.
Given to God, even fear can lead to victory. The light streamed through the windshield of Brother Andrew's blue Volkswagen as he drove toward the shade of the Iron Curtain. He had taken a mission upon himself to bring Bibles and tracts to Christians living in Yugoslavia. The problem was, his cargo was completely illegal. 2 years earlier, in 1955, was the first time Andrew had gone behind the Iron Curtain. He had gone into Poland and Czechoslovakia, where he had seen Christians pressured to teach only what their governments allowed. Bibles were restricted and rare in those countries. Andrew knew he could help, so he purchased as many Bibles and tracts as he could, and he hid them in his car. As he approached the Yugoslav border, Andrew feared that if the guards chose to search his car, they would find the illegal Bibles and tracts in the Slavic language. A search would end his mission and his freedom. So Andrew prayed, "Lord, in my luggage I have scriptures that I want to take to your children across this border. And when you were on earth, you made blind eyes see. Now I pray, make seeing eyes blind. Do not let these guards see those things that you don't want them to see." 2 Yugoslav guards stopped Andrew's car. They seemed happy to see him, as Andrew was likely the first person to attempt a border crossing that day. Speaking in German, a language that Andrew and the guards could understand, he declared the legal items he was bringing. One of the guards inspected the car. If they looked too closely, Andrew would be arrested. While he had contacts behind the Iron Curtain, right now he was alone and no one was there to help him. A former military man himself, Andrew knew how to fight, but he was unarmed and outnumbered. He knew he had to rely on God. The guard opened Andrew's suitcase and began to sort through its contents. The illegal Christian tracts lay there in full view. Andrew kept chatting with the other guard and hoped that God would take care of the rest. Miraculously, the inspecting guard didn't even notice the tracts. The guard finished the inspection without finding anything suspicious, and Andrew was free to go. He successfully crossed the border and continued his mission to help his fellow Christians. Psalm 46, 1-3 says, "God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth gives way, though the mountains be moved into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble at its swelling." Perhaps the guards weren't paying attention. Perhaps they were sympathetic to Andrew's cause. Or perhaps the cargo had truly disappeared before their very eyes. But Andrew knew one thing. He knew God had delivered him that day. Where is fear robbing you of an opportunity? Given to God, even fear can lead to victory.
Brad Hawkins, CEO of a cybersecurity company called SaferNet, and I just finished another amazing story by 365 Christian Men about Brother Andrew. Brother Andrew was an extraordinary individual that simply said yes to God. We look at Brother Andrew as a pillar in our Christian world because of his ability to smuggle Bibles into places that most people couldn't even get to, or they would be afraid to go. The truth is that he's simply our brother in Christ, that there's nothing special about him other than his ability to be able to say yes to God's will for his life. God has a plan for each and every one of us. When we discover his plan and we walk in it, we are richly blessed. In Jeremiah 29:11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you." Hebrews 10:36, "When you have done the will of God, you will receive his promises." The question is, what extraordinary thing is God asking you to do that you feel is too big or too hard? It probably is in your own efforts, but when you know that God's leading you, when you step out and say yes, just as Brother Andrew did, He will make a way. I challenge you to say yes to what God's asking you to do, no matter how big or how small it is. If you don't know what that is, I challenge you also to get into His Word, spend time with Him, understand what He wants you to be doing, and once you understand that, simply say yes and see how God works it out. He always does. Thank you.